Jai Shri Ram friends, I am Krupa Shankar here and this is a new series. I call this the GRE Verbal Shorts. This is the first one. These are words I've drawn from several exercises and it will be very useful for any GRE aspirant. And remember Richard Feynman's famous quote on how to study. Quote unquote, he said, "Study hard, whatever interests you, in the most indisciplined, irreverent and original manner possible." This quote changed my life about how to study anything at all. See, learning vocabulary from word lists is perhaps the most boring thing you can do. And here, what I'm doing is using all those words, listing all those words which have already been used in the exercises of various test preparatory materials. So this will help you. Now let's begin straight away. Penurious is the word right on top. Penurious is a word which can mean two things. It means very parsimonious, means very miserly, not spending at all, a skinflint, a tight fist, a miser, a Scrooge. If you remember Donald Duck, Uncle Scrooge. Penurious also means very poor, extreme poverty. Mellifluous voice, Lata Mangeshkar, sweet voice, sonorous, S-O-N-O-R-O-U-S. Whimsical, whimsical means unpredictable. Capricious is a synonym, C-A-P-R-I-C-I-O-U-S. Caprice and whimsy used as a noun. Whimsy or caprice means a sudden change of mind or an extremely fanciful idea. The next word is ineluctable. Ineluctable means unavoidable, inevitable. Both these are synonyms. Unavoidable. Incisive observation, very astute, very keen-minded, quickly a penetrating mind, possessing acumen, very percipient or perspicacious, P-E-R-S-P-I-C-A-C-I-O-U-S, incisive, very keen mind, quickly grasping. Now rigorous is another important word. Rigorous means very severe, following strict standards. A rigorous punishment means a lot of work the person has to undertake in a jail. Rigorous protocols. Protocols, as you know, is the official standard operating procedures. So that's protocol. Official etiquette is also called protocol. Etiquette means manners, decorum or propriety, D-E-C-O-R-U-M, decorum, propriety. That means rules of social conduct which are usually unwritten. Every society has its own rules of decorum and propriety. Decorous is the adjective. Now rigor. Rigor means severity. Rigor mortis, I've written at the bottom, is a stiffness in a dead body. After a few minutes the body becomes very heavy and stiff. That's called rigor mortis. Scientific rigor is a useful expression, simply means evidence. Intellectual rigor means consistency. If in a book, unfortunately many holy books suffer from a severe lack of intellectual rigor, which means lack of consistency. In chapter 1 they might say peace is the best policy or whatever, and then in the next paragraph you say they are preaching violence. So that lacks intellectual rigor. Rigor in the classroom, that means interaction between the teacher and the student. So questioning and all that. So these are useful phrases, please use them. Remember, why we don't remember words is because we don't use them. Learn the words in an interesting way. Look at the synonyms, look at the meanings. Actually, you might have to look up a few dictionaries because all dictionaries, in spite of their best intentions, sometimes can mislead us. So using dictionaries is good. Look up a few. The best thing is to listen to somebody like me who has already made all that effort. So it's always easier to listen to me. The best way to learn vocabulary is to listen to somebody who already has done the homework, who knows how the words function and where they can be used. The next phrase is time-worn yarn. Yarn means a shaggy dog story, a cock and bull story. That means a story which is so fantastic you can't believe it. Time-worn, that means it has been there for a long time. So time-worn yarns are those old wives' tales. These are idioms. old wives' tales which are no longer believable. Incentive, this word basically means anything that motivates. A positive incentive means praise. A negative incentive is punishment or threat of punishment or a fine. So incentive means anything that motivates. To labor under a belief, that means to be under a mistaken belief. If you are laboring under the belief that God is going to pardon your sins, you will pay heavily. Because there is no pardoning of sins, you will have to pay. Maybe God can give you the strength to tolerate the consequences, the punishments, your comeuppance. Look up the word COMEUPPANC. Comeuppance means deserved punishment, just deserts. So that is the punishment that you deserve. Retribution is a synonym for that. RETRIBUTIO, and retribution means revenge, or retribution means deserved punishment. Vis-a-vis is the next word. Vis-a-vis means with reference to, with regards to, in comparison with. To buck the trend, to resist, to buck the trend. Parsing, correcting. In software you have a different meaning. Parse, used as a jargon in software, is to correct the syntax. Well, almost literally the same meaning. Grammar teacher will parse the sentence. That means correct the sentence or tell you how the structure works. Now let's go down. Unscrupulous means very dishonest. Scruples means minor moral principles. To scruple, if you use it as a verb, to hesitate on account of moral doubts. To demur means to object on account of a moral doubt. So, scrupulous planning, thorough. So, scruple is an interesting word. To scruple about something, that means somebody is asking you to do something and you feel that's not right. So, you would scruple. That means hesitate on account of moral doubts. So now let's look at that one word I jumped over, elusive. Elusive, just beside the word GRE. Elusive means difficult to see or catch. It can also mean something that is difficult to understand. Now let's go down. Remiss. Remiss is careless. To countermand an election, cancel. Dismissive, scornful, not showing any respect, showing contempt. Then pathos, ethos, and bathos. Pathos is sorrow, sadness. Ethos is culture, the Hindu ethos, culture. Ethos is the defining characteristic of something also. Bathos is false pathos. False pathos, that means melodrama, something overdone, or sudden descent from something sublime to the ridiculous. So if you're talking about something very deeply philosophical and suddenly we crack a joke or talk about something trivial, that would be pathetic. Pathetic means sudden descent from the sublime to the ridiculous, or false pathos. Pathetic is the extension or inflection of pathos. Pathetic actually means two things: very sad, or it can mean very, very bad, a bad performance. Now go up. Upshot. Upshot means the consequence. The upshot of the meeting was, that means the final conclusion or something. Touchstone, a test of purity. Actually, Giturai, in Telugu, a goldsmith will use a stone on which he will rub a piece of gold to know its purity. Touchstone therefore can mean any test that checks your caliber, your purity or whatever. Caliber basically. Touchstone of a good batsman is being able to play on a bouncy pitch. To hew to cling on to hew to my values, hewing to my value system, that means not giving up. Hew means cut down, that is another meaning. To hew to means to stick to. Far from is a phrasal verb which means completely opposite. Far from white, far from black it is white. Far from white it is black. Far from useful it is useless. A switchback is a zigzag road on a hillside. If you go to Tirupati, the road keeps going from back and forth as you climb the hill. That's called a switchback. Tenets of Hinduism, principles. Tenet means principles. Now let's go to the last column. Decorum, I just discussed. Decorum means rules of social conduct. Grim is the word to the right. Grim means distasteful. Grim can mean horrible. Grim can also mean gory, lot of blood and killing, and macabre. M-A-C-A-B-R-E. Macabre means something to do with death and horrible. Bravado is a show of bravery. Bravado is a show of bravery. Diffidence, opposite is confidence. Diffidence means shy or lacking confidence. To blatantly appropriate something. Blatantly means outstandingly bad. Very, very bad. Appropriate means to take away. To appropriate, used as a verb, means to take away. Appropriate, used as an adjective, means suitable. To blatantly appropriate something, that means you are seizing something which is not yours. So the synonyms of blatantly is egregious, flagrant, and glaring. So all these words, egregious, flagrant, and glaring, means outstandingly bad. So bad that you cannot ignore it. Tempestuous, stormy. Tempest means a storm, tufan. Tempestuous mood, that means in a very angry, stormy mood. Peripatetic, itinerant means one who is going on foot, walking. A peripatetic teacher is one who paces up and down in a classroom. Doting parents are those who pamper the child with too much love and affection. So the child becomes a brat, a spoilt brat. To dote on means to show too much love and affection. Uxorious is the word at the bottom. An uxorious husband is doting on his own wife, doting on his wife, right? Too much love and affection, pampering his wife. Nettlesome, irritating. Nettle means a brambly bush. Mulla kancha, nettlesome character means a very irritating fellow. Contingent on. If something is contingent on something else, that means it is dependent. Now, contingency means an unforeseen situation. A contingent can be a large group of people too. Contingency plan means an algorithm that you have constructed and you have alternative plans just when something else crops up. A contingency is an unforeseen situation. If that crops up, you have plan 1. If something else crops up, you have plan 2. So that's called a contingency plan. Jai Shri Ram, slow me down and listen to this. Do well on the SAT or GRE or even otherwise improve your English. Jai Shri Ram.